Hello everyone, welcome back to the next turns of Eldritch Horror. Let's start with Charlie Kane, who's our lead investigator still. And I think for Charlie this turn, he wants to acquire assets first. A reminder of all the things that we could do in the actions phase. We could travel, prepare by gaining travel tickets, acquire assets, rest to recover health and sanity. We can trade, and we can interact with things on the board. So right now we're going to acquire assets and see whether we can get some additional help from the reserve. Charlie has an influence of 4, and he has a personal assistant with a total of 5. And we have 2 out of 5, 2 successes. Looking at the reserve, everything is beyond our means except the weapon here. However, there is an option called a bank loan. The bank loan allows us to gain a debt condition to add 2 successes to our test result. So if we acquire a bank loan now, we would be able to acquire things that would be worth 4 influence. I will go ahead and acquire the bank loan because I want to acquire this agency quarantine card, which is 4 influence. So here's the conditions deck. I'm going to search from the bottom up for the debt condition. Determine detained debt. We grab this card and then we would shuffle the rest of these. This debt condition goes to Charlie. Having borrowed some money from the bank, as an action, we can test our influence, and if we pass, we can discard this card. Of course, there is no free lunch, so if during the Mythos phase, when we draw the Mythos cards, we see a symbol which looks like this. This is called the Reckoning effect. We would activate this text here, which tells us what happens to the debt condition here. So usually it's pretty bad stuff that happens to you. So the idea is you want to get rid of this debt before the symbol comes up. When Charlie gained the debt condition, it would also trigger Jacqueline's passive ability, which says once per round, when another investigator gains a non-common condition, you may look at the back of that card and gain 1 clue. So she gets a second clue. And we can take a look at this card. So it's going to ask Charlie, when we flip this card, to test his observation. And if he fails, he's going to get a detained condition, and unless he loses this card's 1 ally asset. Alright, not too bad. The reason why I wanted to acquire this card is because it says when you gain this card, immediately choose a space. Each monster on that space lose 4 health. Then discard this card. So what I want to do with this now is choose a space, and that space is 21, which has the Tik-Tok Man, and Tik-Tok Man is going to lose 4 health. If we look on the back of Tik-Tok Man, we can see that it has a health of this asterisk symbol, which means we read the bottom. It says toughness is equal to investigators plus 2. We have 2 investigators, so toughness is equal to 4. The agency quarantine card allowed us to make Tik-Tok Man lose 4 health. That means we've successfully defeated Tik-Tok Man, and this token would be off the board. Looking at the Mythos card, when the Tik-Tok Man epic monster is defeated, solve this rumor. With that, we can get rid of this card. After Charlie acquired the agency quarantine, we're going to refill the reserve. And we have a .38 revolver. Charlie's second action, he's going to use his ability, which says, as an action, and then another investigator of your choice may immediately perform 1 additional action. That investigator, of course, is Jacqueline Fine. Jacqueline in Arkham is going to use this opportunity to prepare to travel by gaining a train ticket. And what I want to do with her is to move. She's going to move this way. She's going to first move to London. Then she'll spend her ferry ticket that she acquired last turn to move to Rome. And finally, she will spend the train ticket that she just acquired to travel to Istanbul. Jacqueline's second action, she's actually going to test her influence for the reserve. Her influence is 2. Not very good, but I want to test my chances. Wow, that would be 2 successes. That's amazing. I'm going to grab both of these. So, we have 2 weapons. Let's refill the reserve. We have charter flight and double-barreled shotgun. That's the action phase for our heroes. We're now going to move into the encounter phase, starting with Charlie. Charlie's going to see what's up in San Fran. You meet Hamet, a former Pinkerton agent, on the streetcar and try to convince him to teach you how to be a detective. Test influence. If you pass, he agrees. Improve observation. Well, that should be pretty good chances for us because we have 5 influence. And we have 3 successes. So we succeed in convincing the agent to teach us on the secrets of how to be a detective. As a result, we can improve observation. So we're going to flip this over and we're going to get +2 to our observation. Charlie is now a very observant politician. In Istanbul, Jacqueline Fine has a mission ahead of her. She's going to first encounter this monster, the Deep One. The first thing we do when we encounter a monster is to test our will, because these monsters are probably pretty terrifying. So what we're going to do is roll for our will and see how many successes we get. Jacqueline's will is 3, so we're going to roll 3 dice. And we rolled 1 success. The Deep One has sanity of 2. We only rolled a 1. That means we're going to suffer 1 sanity damage. Next, we're going to look at the strength modifier, which is a -1. That means we would roll whatever our strength is -1. Jacqueline only has a strength of 1, but she has a weapon, which helps her with +2 strength. So she's going to roll 3 dice, -1, 2 dice. She can also add 1 to the result of 1 die, and she can re-roll 1 die. So let's roll 2 dice and see what happens. Wow, 6, 5, and 4. Apparently, Jacqueline is a sharpshooter. With the revolver, she easily shoots, aims against the head of the Deep One. We scored 2 successes. Normally, if you score a number that's lower than this, you would suffer the damage in terms of the differences between this number and your number of successes. So if we rolled 0 successes, we would take 1 damage. We would then apply the number of successes to this toughness number, which is 2. That means the monster takes 2 damage, and because it only has 2 toughness, it is defeated. The defeated monster goes back into the monster bag. Having defeated the monster, Jacqueline can now encounter the gate that's on Istanbul. To do this, she's going to step into this gate, travel to the other world, and let's see what happens to her. Let's draw the other world encounter card. The card has 3 sections. This is the encounter, this is what happens if you succeed, and this is what happens when you fail. So let's read this section first. City of the Great Race. You hear the sounds of a terrible gust of wind and listen carefully to determine the origin of the sound. You may spend 1 clue to resolve the pass effect. If you do not spend the clue, resolve the fail effect. Let's see what options we have. If we pass, something large and powerful is trying to break through a sealed trapdoor. The racket is startling and you considered running away. Test will. If you pass, you resolve to fend off the terrible beast, and with the help of the Yithians, you close this gate. If you fail, you flee in terror from approaching threat. Lose 1 sanity. And the fail condition. Bursting up through an opening in the floor, a flying polyp attacks. If you pass, the grateful Yithians help you close the gate. If you fail, the encounter leaves you bruised and shaken. Lose 1 health and 1 sanity. So we have a choice between testing our will or strength. If we spend a clue, then we can do this encounter here, but if we do not spend a clue, then we have to do this strength test. Jacqueline's strength is fairly poor. It's 1, so she is not likely to pass this strength test, which means we do not get to close the gate. If she fails, we do not get to close the gate. So I think we'll play it safe. We're going to spend a clue and go with this encounter, which says we have to test our will and see if we can run away from whatever is going to come through this trap door. So we're gonna do 3. And all 3 are successes. She is rolling really well. 3 5s, in fact. So we pass and we're able to fend off this terrible beast, and we are able to close the gate. Going to spend the clue, and off it comes. This is great because our mystery, the one that we're currently working on, says when an investigator closes the gate that corresponds to the current omen, he may spend 1 clue to place 1 Eldritch token on this card. The current omen is the comet symbol, and Istanbul was also a comet symbol. Jacqueline can spend the 1 clue token that she has left, and she can place an Eldritch token on this card. That was a pretty good encounter for our heroes. Let's draw the Mythos card. Let's read from left to right. This first symbol means we move the omen track. This next symbol is a monster surge. It means that we have to look at the current omen track and spawn monsters on gates that are corresponding to the current symbol. Now, we don't have any gates open on board at this moment, so instead we're going to spawn 1 gate. A portal opens up in Tokyo. There's currently a clue on Tokyo, so we want to get there. Let's draw a monster from the monster bag. We have the witch. Lastly, this means we spawn a clue. $16 is here. Strong grits, the old man told you. You've been wearing the pouch around your neck ever since New Orleans. You wanted to spill blood for you, he drawled. You has to spill your blood for the Griscus. Blood flows event. The lead investigator discards 1 monster of his choice and loses health equal to its toughness. There's only one monster on the board, the witch. And it has a toughness of 1. So off it comes. And Charlie is going to lose 1 health. So we're at the end of the Mythos phase, and because we have 1 Eldritch token on this card, we've solved this mystery. And we can look at the next mystery. And it's the true name. Fragments of Azathoth's true name exist in long forgotten tones. It is said that if a person speaks his name aloud 3 times, the blasphemous sound will grant the speaker great power. When this card enters into play, place a number of Eldritch tokens equal to half the number of Investigators each on a random space. So when it says a random space, we're gonna take a clue token. It says 19. That means an Eldritch token is going to appear on space 19, which is north of Tokyo. As an encounter, an investigator on a space containing an Eldritch token may attempt to find information about Azathoth's true name. He may spend 2 clues to place that Eldritch token on this card. Alright, so we're gonna need 2 clues to solve this mystery. We're going to look around and find clues to Azathoth's true name. That's the end of the Mythos phase and the end of this turn.